I was different. I was a different man back when I was raising my children. And back as a young man, I was wound really tight.
What do you mean when you say that?
I had a bad temper, and I was under a lot of stress for a lot of years. And so I wasn't the calm, laid-back, easy-going fella that, people see today. And so I think, my children are all grown. And I think, in a lot of ways, they're still sitting back trying to compare the old me with the new me that, it's only been about 5 years that I found the place where I could just get some self-control and learn how to chill and get a handle on things, So I think in a lot of ways my family they're just sitting back watching, trying to justify what they see now with what they knew for so many years. The average man, I believe, does not need to go get therapy for the battles and the burdens he's carried inside. What he needs is for those that he's carrying them for to recognize that they're there and to respect it and to be grateful for it. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I will not spend the next 50 years with this guy like I have the last 50. I don't like me. Nobody around likes me. I can't. Catalyst just came about, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I had a small heart attack, and I knew it was a heart attack, and I was at the point, I'm not kidding, I lay there in bed, and I felt it come on, and I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Good. I don't have to fight this anymore. I'm not going to wake my wife up. I went to sleep.
You were in bed next to your wife having a heart attack.
Yeah. And I went to sleep. I woke up next morning. I'm like, dang it, I'm still here. And so, and I didn't tell her. And I went to the doctor. I had further heart problems and other problems. And I finally went to the doctor, and they did an EKG, and they're like, yeah, you had a heart situation back on this. And it was just kind of, it's like, I can't continue to live like this, And my kids didn't like me. I wasn't abusive, I was never, but I wasn't a very nice person. And I was just very on edge, very angry, and so I had to make some decisions. What's making me like this? I need to get it out of my life. And there were people, including family, that I'm like, nope, y'all are gone. I stopped watching the news. I'm like, nope, y'all are gone. Started changing my diet. Started spending a lot of time out on the front porch just smoking cigars, letting the world go by. And slowly over time, got a handle on stuff. I learned from him that your horse is just a mirror of you. They're just a reflection of you. And so any problem that you're having with your horse is just a reflection of a problem that you have inside. And when I started getting that, and I started understanding that, and I started taking that to heart, learning to calm myself for the horse, so I could accomplish something with the horse, which I should have had enough sense when I was young to do that for my wife or for my kids, but
sometimes you need a horse to teach you what a human can't.
Mark Twain said that youth is wasted on the young. So, but when I started and it started working, there's times I've gone out to work a horse and I was like, man, I'm not in a good place today. And I've sat down in a chair outside the pen looking at the horse, lit up a cigar, smoked a cigar looking at the horse. Cigar's done, light up another cigar.
Still not ready.
Maybe it was a pipe, but another one, sit there, and then go home.
Just weren't ready that day.
I wasn't. And it's like, did I accomplish anything today? No. But I didn't wreck anything today. And sometimes that's a victory. Sometimes the biggest victory is, I didn't make a mess today. It was a good day. And I finally had to start figuring that out. A real man, Brad, a real man is born to serve. Period. and we can't lose that. Masculinity to protect and to serve and to help. But if we spend all of our time isolated in our gym and isolated in our booth at our laptop trying to make money, and isolated in our study, reading The Art of War and Marcus Aurelius and reading all this stuff, and we're by ourselves all the time improving ourselves, then our improvements we can get to the best we can get. We want it with a net zero. And so, like what we're talking here, a lot of victories is just, I didn't do that today.
There's an idea from mathematics called never multiply by zero. So we can have 2 million multiplied by 47, multiplied by 2.1, multiplied by 20,000. Multiplied by zero is zero.
Is zero.
So if you spend all of your time working on your health and avoiding seed oils and eating only grass-fed organic meat, but one day decide to drive your car without a seatbelt on, that's multiplying by zero.
Right.
If you get into a wreck.
Right.
And so much of life, I think, is avoiding pitfalls, not expediting successes, because the pitfalls can kick you out of the game permanently,
right.
or they can do things that they're so catastrophic they take much longer to come back from. And this is, in some ways, an excuse for being averse to risk.
Right.
But I think it's just being clever about risk and knowing where you can take risks that have limited downside,
right.
not unlimited downside.
Right. Well, we work a lot with horses, of course, and we've gotten some horses in this year. They weren't ours. Like, my son had bought a horse last year, and the horse was, if you knew what you were doing, you could ride the horse, but the horse was not a broke horse. He didn't have him for very long, and then he deployed overseas. He's in the military. So we brought him to our place. And so, there's all these things, and the two young men that were working with me, it's like, okay, don't move fast. Don't jump. Let's do this.
Don't scare him.
Let's be calm, because they're a prey animal. So there's all this stuff that we work with, and so the young man that rode, he went out and rode him, and he didn't do anything but it was just, he reached in the saddlebag and pulled out one of these water bottles, and it crinkled, and that horse, he just jumped out of his skin. I mean, he didn't turn into a wreck, but it was just like, you spend all of this time moving easy around the horse, working with them real easy and slow, so the saddle, cinching them up nice and slow, cinching them by threes, and moving all nice and easy, and then just one thing, crinkling a water bottle, and you just multiplied by zero.